What's happening, guys, and welcome to another fight by UFC 205. Historic event at Madison Square Garden just wrapped up. Now, this was a huge card for so many reasons. First of all, it's the first in New York City, but then there was a chance to get two belts or one champion of two weight divisions, and that did happen. Now, I said I'd lose my prediction streak, and I lost it. There's a little Mystic Mac action for you guys, but this has been an overall just crazy card, and let's talk about it. Not to be a tease, but let's work our way up. Now, Khabib Nurmagomedov had a very good performance against a fast and dangerous Michael Johnson. Does this mean he's going to get a title shot? Probably not. If I was the UFC, because of the way things are panning out and McGregor is he's just going to have a lot of negotiations coming up and things like that in terms of money. He's got a baby on the way. Just because of that, I would probably do Khabib versus Ferguson. And then depending on that, maybe you can rematch RDA and Eddie Alvarez, see what happens there. But that's an open division. There's also Edson Barbosa in the mix. And there goes my phone. But there's also Edson Barbosa in the mix, and so it's a good division. There's a good tournament that could be set up there. Miesha Tate retired after a tough loss, which I didn't expect, but hey, why not? It wasn't a whole lot too early. She didn't look crisp. She wasn't really beating these girls who she should be beating. So I didn't expect it at all, but I understand it. Now, Yoel Romero cracks me up. He's constantly cheating, and it's hilarious. The way he does it, he's just rubbing water on himself so that he can get some extra time to wipe it down. And he's just a really fun personality, and he will definitely get the Bisping shot. He had a very, very impressive performance against a very dangerous Chris Weidman, and he came out on top, so it's hard to deny him the title shot, especially when he beat Jacare. So let's talk about Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Now, she went out and did what she does. She point fought, and it was boring at times, but successful. I like, to be honest, what Dana White said. I like the Claudia Gadelha versus Carolina fight a whole lot, and while, that can give Joanna some time to maybe just some time off or to add some tricks to her playbook, and then those two can fight it out and maybe put Rose Namajunas somewhere up there with whoever's after those three. So it's basically it's opening. We have Paige Van Zandt versus Michelle Waterson. Maybe you do something with that, the winner of that, and it's just a good division. This fight opened a lot in terms of it because Carolina was they were building her up to this moment, and they couldn't really do much about it until now, so at least we've got an answer to some things now. Tyron Woodley had his moments for sure, but he got played by Wonderboy. Moving on to the Woodley versus the co-main event, he was really played by Wonderboy. He went and did exactly what Wonderboy Thompson wanted him to do. If he fights, I don't know, I feel like if he fights Conor, which is far-fetched for sure, I see Conor picking up an easy TKO. I mean, there's it's just certain. It's really hard to find a style to beat Conor McGregor's new style, and we'll talk about that in a second. Maybe I see TJ Dillashaw maybe doing it, someone like that. You're gonna need someone unorthodox to be able to deal with Conor McGregor's new style, and we'll talk about that in a second. Or maybe they can run that one back. Have the rematch of Woodley and Stephen Thompson. In terms of what happens with the welterweight division, maybe they can do that since it was a draw, and I don't know. I see they can have the Damian Maia versus Wonderboy thing happen, but the problem is with that is that it closes off so many things. It will eliminate one of them. I know Jake Ellenberger's building his way up. We've got Donald Cerrone, so it's an open division, but likely they're gonna run it back. I doubt the Damian Maia versus Wonderboy thing because now they've got two very good options. There's absolutely no need to take one of them off the table with a loss. Now, the Mac, the Notorious, nothing but respect. He froze Eddie and played with him to pick up a swift TKO in the second. Now, he definitely has a changed fighting style like we talked about. In his past two fights, he's been very flat-footed and selective. So he just walks and stands in front of you and then will throw the occasional punch, right? And he doesn't do that bouncing thing that he did against Aldo or anywhere else. I don't think he has better cardio now, not at all. But he's just not as aggressive as he used to be. So it's a much more conservative fighting style. And I'm not sure I like that. It's very dangerous and effective, as we saw, but especially when you have speed in your hands like he does. But I couldn't help but feel the energy is not the same anymore. When he knocked Aldo dead and lost to Diaz and even beat Diaz the second time, the crowd was unmistakably electric. Now, though, he's made history at MSG, and it's just, Madison Square Garden, first ever time in New York, and I just didn't feel that same energy or response at all. I can see this being the last of him in a while. Maybe he comes back only for a third title or a big fight. Maybe they do GSP. Whatever the case may be, it's too early to tell, but it's definitely, it's different now. It's different. So no matter what happens, I'm very excited for what the future holds. And with 12 weight divisions, there's 12 champions, or 11 champions and 12 belts, thanks to Conor McGregor. And that means very many interesting fights, so I can't wait. Be sure to keep up with me on Twitter at TheMMATen. And the sort of central hub for this podcast is over at TheMMATen Podcast.wordpress.com. And that'll take you to wherever you want to go to listen to either these fight bites or the full podcast episodes. That's all I got for now, and I'll see you guys soon.